two every now and then.
Yeah.
They call it rehab.
He's a licensed one.
With the hour being 12:30-ish, let us call this, special meeting to order. We certainly appreciate you, all the trust authority members as well as our visitors taking the time out of the schedule. Casey, thanks for keeping us timely and very appropriately done according to the Oklahoma State Open Meeting Act. So, we will call the meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Barrick. Gilbert.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
Hackwood.
Here.
Worthing.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We will move right into the first agenda item, which is swearing in of Mark Simpson, interim city manager, as secretary of the Shawnee Civic Cultural Development Authority Trust. So, Casey, if you please.
I state your name.
I, Mark Simpson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly
and I will not knowingly
receive directly or indirectly
receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable thing
any money or other valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation
other than the compensation
allowed by law.
allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a Shawnee Civic and Cultural Development Authority
as the Shawnee Civic and Cultural Development Authority or its member
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a long one, isn't it?
It's so long, I would have known what SCCDA.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Welcome to the Trust Authority. Thank you for your service to the city of Shawnee as well as the Shawnee Civic Cultural Development Authority. And with that, we will move into agenda item number 2, consideration approval of the minutes from the November 21, 2024 regular scheduled meeting.
I have an issue with them.
You have a copy in your packet? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I read them. I have an issue with them on the, like in our indenture, and I brought a copy for us. It says, upon termination of this trust, the trustees shall proceed to wind up the affairs of this trust, and after payments of all debts, expenses, and obligations out of the monies and properties of the trust, excuse me, estate, to the extent thereof, shall distribute the residue of the money and properties of the trust estate to the beneficiary hereunder. Back in November, and I read it wrong because I actually thought that the county and city was both beneficiaries, but it's all goes back to the city of Shawnee. So when we transferred ownership of all that intellectual property back in November to Pot County, we shouldn't have done that. I mean, I definitely want my vote changed, because if anything, we could have done a contract like what's up on the agenda today, but we can't. And y'all are more than welcome to read this copy too, if you want.
So it's my understanding that this agenda item is related to the minutes from the previous meeting. I would, and we have attorneys in the room, but I would think that our agenda item is related to the minutes, and if they were recorded correctly, and if they were brought to the meeting correctly.
Well, and it's also if they are correct.
So we can address your concern, I would think, and I'm kind of reaching out because I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on TV.
I can speak to it if you would
But,
allow me.
but I think what we're concerned with is the minutes and whether they were actually reported correctly. Is that right? I mean,
I don't know. Yes, you're just memorializing what happened at your last meeting.
yes.
Here's the agreement. I don't know why the county clerk couldn't find it in her office, but we have it. Y'all approved it, we approved it. it just hasn't been signed by y'all, but you.
Well, then I'd love to see a
Let
copy of
us-
it, cause I've never seen it.
Let us,
Well, that's not my fault.
The minutes
Let
say
us-
we voted to transfer ownership.
We need to act on the item right now.
Hold on one second. This is just to reflect the minutes from the previous meeting, whether they were recorded and whether they were presented correctly. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes from the November 21st, 2024 regular scheduled meeting. The minutes as they were recorded. Do we have any further discussion related to the minutes? Do we have any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heffler,
Aye.
Wortham,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Morris,
No,
Simpson,
Yes.
you can't vote
motion
no.
carries.
You gotta abstain.
Motion
Oh, I
passes.
gotta abstain, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Which means it
Motion
fails.
passes.
He can vote.
No, he can't, he wasn't here. He wasn't a part of the meeting. Andrea was, it's a new person.
The motion is 4-1. The next agenda item is discussion consideration of the engagement letter with Arledge and Associates, PC, for the audit services, December 31, 2023, which was deferred. I have not reached out to Arledge. I have attempted to make contact with a couple of local accounting firms. The 2023 audit and the 2024 audit could potentially be combined due to the dissolution process for the Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority. That'll be a quite extensive budget, process as far as the inventory of the equipment that is out at Third Oklahoma Expo Center. So I would ask that we table that till the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table item number 3. Do you have any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
For clarification, are we tabling it or deferring it to the next meeting?
Tabling it. Is that
Deferring it to the next meeting is what we should do probably. and that's
deferred to
what
the
we
next meeting? And with the second follow that?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Do you have any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heffler,
should. Yes.
Wortham,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
motion carries 5-0.
5-0. Motion passes. Item number 4, discuss consideration to allow Potawatomi County to use Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority assets, if any, that have been used in the past for the International Final Youth Rodeo. We as the trust authority, through the dissolution of the trust authority, the assets that are at the expo still belong to the trust authority. The trust authority would, in theory, still have control of those assets, working closely with Heart of Oklahoma Expo Center. So if with the transfer of the ownership of the IFYR, we were only able to transfer, as the minutes said, we were only able to transfer the name International Finals Youth Rodeo and IFYR and the website and the social media to the Potawatomi County for the continuation of the rodeo. So with that, I would imagine, Mr. Yergin, that if the county, Commissioner Dennis, would wanna have rodeos, you probably need some bucking shoes. And you probably need some pins to hold them animals. So, that was a good point of information to be brought up. I personally, as one trust authority member, would think we cannot transfer the ownership of the assets, but we should be able to transfer the use of the assets, continued use of the assets for the International Final Youth Rodeo 2025. So,
Do we need anything in writing between us for them to do that, or should this action cover it?
No, I would say we definitely need something in writing, cause I got questions of, like, when these assets aren't in use, are we gonna be charged to store them out there? Or are they gonna be stored somewhere on county property even though it's ours? Who's responsible for replacement of damaged and broken assets? Things happen. So I definitely think we need a contract to make sure of who's gonna be responsible monetary wise, if anything, when something goes wrong. And then the other thing, there's not even a current updated asset list. The one from last November that we didn't take action on still has that Tahoe that we all know was totaled and gone. So it's not even a current list. Like, I'm a no vote on this, because all we have to do per that indenture is just give it all back to the city. Then they can do a contract with county all day long, and we're free and clear of it. But we need an updated current list of them first.
the updated and current list, the asset list that the trust authority has is from 2019, when the city and the management group entered into an agreement. That is the most current list. Each year, the audit firm, Arvids and Associates, has done the last couple. They had control of that asset list, and that was available to them.
They take it at our word that that asset list is correct. They don't go out there and count how many panels.
So, right, and the final audit will include a count list of all of the material assets.
So, but I know, but then, so until then, we're just given a fictitious amount of stuff to county to use that we have no idea. And I'm being hypothetical here, but let's say something gets broken. If it's not on the list, then they don't even have to claim it, and then we're out that money. I mean, we need a contract. We need an updated 2025 assets list so that we know if it's 498 panels or if it's 530.
To a little bit back up, when the city of Shawnee and the Oakview or Spectra at the time, it's ODG I believe now, whenever for the last 6 years now, I think it's been 6 years that the management group has been somewhat in control of those assets. We had that discussion at our last meeting related to the use of those assets by the management group, and how the trust authority is charged for the use of the expo center when the management group uses the assets that actually belong to the trust authority. For me, again, if I believe IFYR 2025 is already been, I think entries open April 1. The county and the IPRA have an agreement to work closely together for that to be used in our county till the trust authority finalizes the dissolution. I for one believe the county and the IPRA should be able to use those assets.
But what assets? We don't even have a list. So we don't know exactly what we're giving them to use.
For me, we have to work off of the list we have.
From 6 years ago, that I can already point out that Tahoe is still there, and we all know that Tahoe, it's a fact.
Yes.
That Tahoe was stolen and then totaled, and we got the insurance money. The other half of that same $9,000, I believe, was used to pay for our audit.
That's correct.
Because that other $9,000 came from Andrea.
From the city. Yeah. So
I don't think it's specific in what they're using You know, to me, it's just I'm assuming it's the bucket shoots, the panels, the things that normally, it's the things that they've been using out there to have, host their other events that they've been using all along. I mean,
Well,
they've
and
been,
I
at
don't
will
have-
been using that
And I don't have a
stuff.
problem with them using them, but like, let's make like the contract thing, let's make a
Well,
contract.
no, I understand the contract, and that's a reasonable concern. We should have some sort of contract between the SC and CDA and the county for the use of these assets for this 2025 rodeo. I do agree with that.
I mean,
Well,
'cause-
and let's back up a minute, we probably should have had a contract between us and the company that's running the expo to use our
Long
assets.
time ago. Well, we should have had
And
that
we haven't.
discussion.
Yes.
And
Yes, we
that
should.
cow has left the barn.
Yeah.
So we need to just move forward, whatever we gotta move forward to do, we gotta do it.
But I don't disagree, that contract needs to be written of what
We
we're
need some
allowing them
kind
to use.
Okay,
written
well,
agreement.
and kind of like the contract, I mean, I guess we'll get to see it here in a minute, but the contract we have for the other one, you guys agree that we transferred ownership of that stuff, right?
The name.
The name, the
the
intellectual
name,
property.
like, yes.
Okay, and then that thing says we can't. So if they're saying they have a contract to the other, like, I don't know that I'm gonna believe this contract, because if we vote yes today, why isn't the contract here so that I can read it and know exactly what I'm voting on, not after the fact?
Would it be fair to Commissioner Dennis to ask the county to draft up a contract
For what, sir?
for the use of the required, assets for IFYR
If
2025?
that's what y'all want me to do, we don't, I mean, it'll be stays at the DA's office. It's the same thing with the contract that you guys voted to transfer the website, and intellectual stuff. We typed that, we drafted that up too,
Yes.
and approved it.
That is correct, and it was signed by the chairman.
So we signed that.
Yes. So, if that's the pleasure of the group, we could ask the county to draft an agreement to use the, required material assets.
Well, and gang, we can have another special call by next week if we need to, like, we don't have to wait to get all this done.
Right.
We got a regular meeting coming up this month.
We have a regular meeting the third Thursday.
Well, they've all been removed from the city website. Like, this committee doesn't exist on any website anymore.
There was no scheduled meetings for
Oh.
last year, so all meetings
Okay.
this year would just be special
Okay.
calls.
Yeah, yeah. So, is that the pleasure of the group to ask the county to draft an agreement for the use of that equipment, for the required equipment?
Can we make can we draft it up to where y'all are giving us permission, him permission, them permission, them permission? I mean, won't limit to anything.
It would be, I would think for IFYR 2025, it should be the Potawatomi County and the IPRA. And would it also include OVG, because they would be, I'm assuming Frank and his guys are gonna set all that up.
Yes, sir.
And to cover our bases, we might as well. It won't hurt anything.
Dale does a contract with Frank. We're gonna do a contract with Frank, but please, the board, or a board member, we will do it with everybody.
And I assume it'd be just pretty simple.
It will.
Commissioner, I don't,
Yeah.
just
It will.
basic, yeah,
We'll leave that up to the
yeah.
We're very fortunate in Potawatomi County to have the assistance of the district attorney's office, so that helps, as well as the city attorney, Mr. Conlon, so that helps.
If everybody's ready if you're ready for a motion, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that to move forward, and feel free to correct me on the wording if I get this wrong. To move forward, we need the county, commissioner, whoever needs to be named there, to draw up a contract for the use of declared items for them, OVG, and IPRA. And if I muddied those words, please tell me and we can clean it up.
I don't know that I'd put declared, because that rest of it, I'd say required.
Well, required, but we still need to know what they're using. I mean,
Required assets, yeah.
okay. And then is there a way, or would you guys even be open to having like how many? Cause they have people to go out there and count all that stuff.
Well, I don't think we do,
I
me
think
personally,
we-
because there's some that's probably bent, damaged, we wouldn't know exactly until they start to put them together what exact number would be. I think it'd be a
Okay.
challenge to
Then
do
can
it.
we have it required in there that as they use the assets, any damaged ones they come across, they need to at least report that to us? So that we have a running
Well,
tally of
it'd be
what's good and
good,
what's bad.
now you'd ask for an accounting of what's,
What's good
we
and
have
what's
in
bad,
us, we
yeah.
know what we got.
Yeah, it helps us
That
track
makes
too.
sense.
Okay, Casey?
Sorry,
Got all
Casey.
that?
We have them. And you'll read that, do we have a second to that?
Not yet.
Let her get it written down and read back to us, make sure we want to second it.
A motion to have the county commission draft a contract for use of required items for, did you specifically want to designate the 2025 IFYR?
Yes,
And then did you want to name
all three,
the county OBG and IPRA?
correct. Thank you.
Should we have the term county commissioner draft or county drafted?
Potawatomi County.
Okay,
Potawatomi County, so that doesn't limit it to an individual.
That means we know Melissa's not necessarily gonna draw it up.
She already said, she.
I know.
Okay. Casey,
We've got a first and a second.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to ask Potawatomi County to draft an agreement between, Potawatomi County, IPRA, and OBG for the use of assets, required assets for the IFYR 2025. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Morris,
yes.
Wortham,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Packer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
motion carries 5-0.
Motion passed. Thank you. Item number 5. Discussion consideration to designate the chairman of the Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority as a contact person and person in charge of working with Potawatomi County in using Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority assets for international family abuse rodeo.
We don't even really need this, cause we just did a contract. Like, they're already gonna have use of it, so we don't need anybody watching over it, it's already sitting out there, right?
Yes, but we could, I think.
Can we do this, can we include that in that contract, that you're the contact person if they need to contact anybody concerning any of that information?
If need be, I mean, it's.
If something were to come up, that way it's covered.
Well, but if we're gonna do that, I'd be more inclined to say the city manager, because the city's the beneficiary in the end.
Well, but he.
You got plenty of time, don't you, Mark?
Yeah, no one knows those panels and stuff out there as well as Randy, I
Well,
mean.
okay,
but
then let's
the
put
trust
them,
is
then let's
saying-
put them both on so that we have
But
the chair
trust
and
authority still owns
the
those
city.
assets.
That's fine, put the chair.
I make a motion to put the chair and the city manager in charge of that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to designate the chairman and the Shawnee city manager as the contact person working with Potawatomi County and Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority assets for IFYR. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Morris,
Yes.
Wortham,
Yes.
Gilbert,
You're okay with that, Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Yes. Probably should have asked that.
It's fine. It's fine. Yes.
Packer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Motion carries.
If something comes up, he doesn't know answer,
He's going to Randy.
He's got your number.
Should ask for a vote.
No.
Item number 6. Discussion consideration to hire an attorney to be paid for by Potawatomi County per the mediation agreement to represent the Shawnee Civic Cultural Development Authority in the dissolution of the Shawnee Civic Cultural Development Authority Trust. I actually spoke with Mr. West, Brad West, a couple of weeks ago, and he has been very good to be the attorney for the trust authority up until this point, but as we continue into the dissolution process, the trust authority certainly needs legal representation, and, Mr. West agreed that he would continue, and is very generous of Potawatomi County to, yes, we have a.
Yeah, David,
Can we have a
David
comment from the
Floyd.
commissioner?
David Floyd said that he would give the papers to Brad. And he would help him all if he needed. And so I made a copy just so y'all could look at them, and I contacted Brad, so I'm gonna give them to Brad. I've emailed them to Brad actually, so. But
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a copy just so you'll know what the paper, it says instructions for dissolution of public trust. So,
Good reading
I'm
material.
gonna show my ignorance here. Who's David Floyd?
He's the attorney for the county.
he's our
David
public,
Floyd is the
Okay.
gentleman that came
He's
to the
kinda-
mediation
Okay.
he's
with
kind of the
county.
guru of
Well, when I,
public trust.
okay, I know which one he is now you say that, but I didn't ever get his name.
He does all the ARPA money and
He,
stuff like that.
he is,
Seems like it'd be a
He was our
conflict for us
mediation
to do.
attorney.
yes,
Seems like
yes,
a
he, I mean,
conflict
he was
for us
from
to do.
mediation from the very beginning. And he is, I mean, he kind of does trust authority stuff. I actually mentioned him to Brad a couple weeks ago, and Brad said.
And it would have been a conflict of interest for him to help.
Foundation of college, do that stuff. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So he's paid to look out for our interest or yours?
He's not gonna represent us.
He's not representing
He's
us.
not representing
David
anybody.
Floyd is the
Okay.
county, Brad West is ours.
Is
So we're still gonna keep, I just wanna make sure
Yeah.
we're clear, we're gonna keep
And,
Brad West.
and the county has generously agreed to pay for Mr. West.
Yes.
So we need motion
Yes.
to hire Brad West as our attorney.
Yes.
But
So
again,
moved.
but do we, hold on, I got this, well, I guess you
I can
make a
make a
motion and we can have a
We
discussion.
have a motion to hire Brad West, we have a second.
These are just blank forms.
To hire Brad West to
So
continue
it's
to
just
be the
for
Shawnee Civic
information
Cultural
purposes.
Development Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Okay.
Open for discussion.
So for discussion, we already hired him. Why are we doing it the second time? We never finished the mediation and dissolution the first time. Kinda seems redundant.
Because the resources that were available only go so far.
So it's coming from a different pot of money?
No, but there was a number involved earlier.
What was that number?
I don't think that we ever had him on there to help us in the beginning, follow us through this
Brad came in the
dissolution. To
beginning,
me,
but
it
not
was
the
just
final.
getting us to that meeting. So
Okay.
after we agreed to the dissolution, I don't think it was ever agreed that he would help us past that. So I think this is kind of a new separate deal since we've agreed as a board, the
No, I hear you.
county. So that now we're hiring him to come back and help us through this
And I hear
dissolution
you, I just was
process.
under the impression the other direction, that he was
Yeah.
actually with us till we were done.
I
We're
don't,
just worried about spending some more
yeah,
county money.
I don't think I think we had him to that point. Now this is just taking us to the rest of it, in my
I got
opinion.
you.
Yep.
I got you.
Get it done.
Get her done.
Get her done. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor to hire Brad West for the.
You gonna have her do roll call?
All those in favor do roll call.
Hackwood,
Yes.
Wortham,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Motion passed. Item number 7. discussion consideration to authorize the chairman of the Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority to execute an employment contract with an attorney and be designated as a person with authority to act on behalf of the Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority and execute all documents needed to dissolve the Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority. I would be glad to work with Mr. West and to work through the dissolution process, because it will be quite extensive, but we wanna make sure, Mr. Rodman, that we follow all the letters of the law and make sure that we're in the right place.
Well, again, I'll make a motion for the chair and the city manager to be a part of that, and that they both need to be in agreement to make any decisions on behalf of this committee.
But yeah, we only need one signature to execute the contract.
Well, we can put it in the motion however we want to. So if they both agree, then it really doesn't matter who signs.
As long as there's one signature, and I can work closely with Mr. Simpson. Was that a motion?
Yes, sir.
You're authorizing the chairman and the co-chairman?
That's fine.
Well,
No, I'm
Yeah, come in.
secretary, that's right.
secretary, right? Yeah.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to, authorize the chairman and city manager to, execute an employment contract with an attorney, be designated as a person with authority to act on behalf of the Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority and execute all documents needed to install the Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority. Got any other discussion? Got any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Morris,
Yes.
Worthing,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hackwood,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
motion carries 5-0.
Motion passes 5-0. Item number 8. Discussion consideration to request the city of Shawnee to waive debts or reduce the amount of debt owed to Global Spectrum LP DBA Oakview Group by the International Professional Rodeo Association and Shawnee Civic Culture Development Authority for the 2024 International Piles Beach Rodeo. And I will certainly open that one up for discussion. I believe, I don't have we have a copy of that in there, it was right in that.
About a 90,000.
82,000 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, the trust authority is very limited on funds. And so I think as the trust authority, in order to dissolve the trust, we have to, in order to dissolve the Title 60 trust and say, well, come on, we have to do away with all debt. So
That's a checkbook, Mr. Simpson.
ideally, if
You
we
want
could,
the actual bill from last year?
Frank, if you would come, yes. Or just read the bottom line.
And he's gonna change it to a different number,
Yeah,
lower
yeah.
than that, that's fine.
You-
75,160. RV, that's for RVs and barn rentals and stalls.
And it's how much, 70?
75,160, yes, sir.
Because it started out in the 80s and then you waived some fees with Dale on, with after
We,
purchase.
yeah, we
session
negotiated a little bit.
Over
It
the
was,
stalls that weren't used. So with that, we could open this up. I know it's a challenging time to ask.
How much money do we have in our accounts?
There is, we haven't got our bank statements yet, but they'll be in the special events account. they'll be somewhere in the 40-ish.
So we
So,
need roughly 36,000. Is that fair?
Hopefully we get the bank statements in the next few days, and I'll get them to Casey.
So this motion is just for us to approve of going to the city and asking for them to
Yes.
take care of the balance.
Yes,
So
either way, part of it, work a 50/50.
Or whatever they work out with the,
With,
I'll make that
Yeah.
motion.
We don't have to go to the city commission at all. City manager is allowed to do $49,999 by himself. We just voted to change that a couple of years ago.
so what we would ask, I think.
To the
as-
city.
As the trust authority is, one is, I know Frank's a really generous soul, and we'd really like for him to waive that, but I'm not sure Frank can waive it. So.
I can waive the late penalties.
See, what a great soul. So,
Well, why are we 36 or 35 approximately? Why are we in the hole? Like, why are we underwater?
the general intent of the IFYR was not as a moneymaker. It was to bring people to town. And last year during the rodeo, we had to, where we had previously borrowed stalls from Tulsa, we had to
Rent some.
rent stalls, and that was in the well over $50,000 range. So that really kind of put us in the hole to start with. And we lost Ram, who's been a 30-year sponsor. Let me rephrase that. We did not lose Ram. Ram made a decision to do other things. Ram actually cut out their rodeo.
Big time.
Yeah, they went from, they'll help me, they went from,
600 plus events the year before to 6 last year.
Right, yeah.
Flower was not one of the 6.
yeah. So they, we didn't lose them. They made a decision for the business, and that cut us about 20,000. So, just a couple of little things, and it kind of got us in the hole, and it's hard to come back.
Well, I want to remind everybody that, and like Carl said too, that indenture says that we're allowed to get into contracts, do business, do construction, all kinds of things. So we could have been making money this whole time.
The general intent, I think, from Kenny Etchison and that group was to bring people to Shawnee for the economic value. I think the last economic study that was done in 21 maybe, and it was a little over $6 million for the economic impact for Shawnee area. So that's the true value of the rodeo.
To the discussion of this item here, and I'm gonna ask this, and obviously, I know Joe was there, Melissa, some of us there. If I remember correctly, I asked this specific question in mediation because I knew at the time we could not dissolve with debt. When I asked that question, I believe Andrea said, we can figure something out. We can take a look at the bill and see if the city wants to eat some of this and where we can go with it and have some negotiation, but we can help take care of this. So that is what I remember. So I don't know how we as a board can negotiate this. To me, this is more of city, Frank, Melissa, to kind of can talk a little bit amongst themselves to figure out what they're willing to give and concede. Am I correct a little bit in that, Joe? Could you help me?
I can't get into the specifics of what discussed in mediation, but obviously we all three entered an agreement, county, city, and this body. Coming out of that agreement, it contains a good faith cooperation provision between the city, the county, and the SCCDA with regard to several issues, and this is included in that.
Yeah.
So along the lines of what you talked about, Lance, that is incumbent upon the agreement for us to sit down and have those discussions. So,
Yeah.
and I'm I'm certain that the county, I know that the city are planning on having that.
Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is I
Do we
don't,
need to do this?
yeah, I don't know that down here is kind of where we have this, cause I think it's gonna be more of a,
It's already been talked about.
yeah, discussed, we just gotta figure out the details.
Well, and keep
So-
in mind that we can also, like, whatever assets that county doesn't need for the rodeo, we can sell those assets and then use that money to put towards our debt as well, so that we don't just have crap sitting out there.
No, and I understand, we got all kind of options, but I think we need to sit down as
No, I agree with
groups,
you.
just kinda, you know, whether we designate someone, whether it be you again and co-chair, secretary, with the city and the county and Frank to do that, you know, may be the best.
So would it be fair for the agenda item was only discussion only, and that we could ask for the minutes to reflect that we had the discussion concerning the mediation, and we would encourage the city and the county to work on resolving the debt issue with Ocean Spectrum? Is that fair enough?
I think that would include a representative from this board, perhaps you two, to sit in on that discussion, with them and for you all to get together and have that discussion and bring it back to us what the final numbers are. Is that fair?
Can we have that reflection in the minutes as a discussion only?
That no motion was taken, but discussion was held regarding the mediation agreement.
In that,
Take no action.
and that we encourage the city, that the trust authority encourage the city and the county to work closely with Oakview, and something about the chairman and city manager. I'm not sure where that came in.
Just like all the others.
No action taken.
Right.
Did I make a motion a while ago?
I
Okay,
don't have that one. You
I
did.
just wanted to make sure I didn't. I was thinking about it.
Yeah, you actually talked about it before.
Okay. I was gonna withdraw it if I did.
So with that would also alleviate action item number 9.
That takes care of both of those.
And point of order, Mr. Chairman, before we adjourn, this would be a question probably for Casey. How do we go about changing the last meeting where we voted for the transfer of ownership? Because I voted yes on that, to transfer ownership, not to get into a contract for use. So if it is a contract for use, I want my vote changed.
I'll have to look into it. The minutes have to reflect what happened at the meeting, so I will see what needs to be
Are you
done.
talking about last time's minutes?
At the
At November of last year,
November meeting, what I would, and again, this gets into a legal issue. If at our next regular scheduled meeting, during a special call meeting,
Did the city not agree to allow us to transfer the intellectual property?
yes, yeah.
So we were
Brad
able
did
to.
the research on that.
well, and it says in the
brought that back.
indenture that the city, the beneficiary, it doesn't say the city. It says that the beneficiary cannot do anything, influence, have any,
Yeah, I've got a copy of that on my desk too.
beneficiary shall have no legal title, claim, or right to the trust, its income, or any part thereof, or to demand or require any partition or distribution thereof, and it neither shall, it goes into it.
Well, we might as well not even look at that piece of paper, cause it's been busted all to hell.
Well, but this is the legal document that we're supposed to
I-
go by,
I
so
agree,
I wanna vote
agree.
by
There's
this.
other things that have happened that have blown that out of the water.
At the last, at our last regular scheduled meeting, the city manager had done the research to see if we could not, she was very clearly to speak that we could not transfer the assets, but we could transfer the intellectual property, the website, the name, but none of the assets, because ultimately, the assets at the dissolution of the trust will go to the city of Shawnee.
So will
she
the
was- she was
intellectual
very
property
careful
as
to-
well? If
She was
they're all
very careful to
assets.
do the research.
Well, Andrea lied about a lot of things, and
Whoa.
So and maybe that's something we do research on, Casey, through the city.
well, I
clerk's
definitely want
office
my
or-
vote changed, so whatever we have to do to make that happen, otherwise I'm gonna seek legal counsel on my own.
In
I mean-
at the next regular scheduled meeting that we have, we can have public comments and trustee comments at that point.
See, but we can't because we have no regular scheduled meetings. They don't exist. All we can have is special calls. Casey even said that earlier.
We still are on the third Thursday, but we missed January and February. But we can.
Casey, do we have scheduled meetings every month right now?
No, we don't.
We do not,
We didn't have any last year, is what she
Oh,
said.
okay,
because this dissolution should already have been done.
so,
So, Casey, if you'll look into that, I'd appreciate it.
with a special call meeting, we have no public comments, no trustee comments, we went over the agenda, we took care of the action items and the discussion items, so item number 10 is to adjourn. And
So moved.
Second.
we have a motion to adjourn and a second motion to adjourn to privilege motion, with no discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Chacon,
Yes.
Gilbert, Morris,
Yes.
Simpson.
Did you see her look at you
Like
like,
that
what are you
three,
doing?
fine.
Thank you. Motion passed. Thank you, Commissioner Dennis and,
bunch of stuff is done.
88 Bacon for the information. Very good. Mark, I will reach out to
Well,
them,
everybody
and I'll-
that I saw, when I looked over, given all that stuff, you also need to start to know the other courtroom, that's what's happening.
He'll
And this, these are.
probably visit with Attorney Flood on what all it takes.
Okay.
And he'll give
Thank
us
you.
a number and all.
Yeah, that's what I have no problem.
He is, Brad is.
What's it called? It's not the original.
I started looking at it like, what are you doing?
Make that my mind, it's a privilege
It's on the
motion.
back.
Roll call vote.
Intellectual property.
Everybody else just stay here.
That's just where you approved to let us,
No,
let,
she said you had a copy of the contract you wanted to sign.
that's it. This is the copy of the contract, of the, where y'all approved, your, in your minute, this is your minutes where you approved it. This is the contract that we approved, and here's our minutes showing where we approved it.
Yeah, so you accepted the transfer.
And this is it, Stacy, the agreement was for, Stacy typed all this up. We put it on our
I've
agenda.
never seen her.
And I don't know why she didn't have it down in her office. County clerk.
No, but I mean, even when we voted that day, I've never seen it.
Well, you probably, you didn't. This wasn't,
Because I didn't vote on a contract. I voted to transfer the ownership to you.
this is an agreement. It's just an agreement to transfer that stuff to us.
Welcome, sir.
I can't transfer ownership to you.
No fee.
See, I disagree with you on that. And I sent you an email in regards to that as far as what it says. You guys can still conduct business and buy and sell and trade and do whatever you want until you dissolve, and then when you
Give away
dissolve,
assets. They all have to go back to the city of Shawnee.
at the time of dissolution, if you look in the trust indenture, it says at the time of dissolution, so not until you dissolve.
We already
Do you
voted
have
to. We're in the
to,
process right now.
you haven't even done any legal work in regards to a dissolution. That's what the whole, that's, I understand that, but that's the whole point of hiring an attorney.
Say that last.
That's the whole point of hiring the attorney. Y'all are gonna have West law firm to represent you on that.
This should have been done in 6 months.
But
I know, but see, that's why her and I. She called me a liar saying it was a contract, and I didn't vote
Well, okay,
to let y'all use it. I voted to
But
give
in,
them to.
but in defense of that, when I prepared this, it ran through our meeting, and it was my understanding that it was sent over here, which I don't know if it was or not, and that it was gonna go through your meeting. It was supposed to have went through your meeting, but it didn't.
And I hear you out. I do, but it never went through yet. I've
Right.
never seen that.
Well, then why don't we just do this? We'll just put this on the next y'all's next agenda.
Easy to do, it's like everybody going up. But again, she calls me a liar and it seems so I want it. But y'all,
Because she thought it did, that it got through, because it, like I said.
that's not my fault.
No, it's
I'm
not.
not paid to do that.
No, I know, I agree
I
with you.
mean,
But let's fix it.
And then I get Ken and all the rest of the little cronies coming out. Eventually, I'm gonna sue all of them. I think you know what to do it, because I'm a private citizen. They're elected officials.
But like I said, work with me, we'll get it done.
I also
So,
need a way to find things like this.
I think that was, I agree with you.
We don't exist anymore, and that's why the jobs are what they need it. So I'm not doing it.
No, and I'll help any way I can, and like I said, we'll just keep pushing. So I will work on setting up a meeting with all of us as far as that, so that we can try to get that taken care of.
Shouldn't be a big deal.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying to make sure somebody gets done.
Well, I hear you, and I appreciate that, because then we can, all we have to do is dissolve, and then you don't exist anymore.
Right, and I think there's a process, and I think that's what that one handout was for, so they gotta follow that whole process.
Yeah, but I'll read through that. We gotta have meetings to be able to make progress.
Yep. We'll get there.
Okay. Thanks for talking to us.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'll look to see if they only have this.
See you talking. See y'all later.